Things are getting very uncomfortable for General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi at the Madlanga Commission, because while he is making serious allegations against General Feroz Khan, a clip is suddenly being shared everywhere, and it contains Mkhwanazi's own words. Mkhwanazi admitted that he could not find a single wrongdoing committed by Khan, and even said SAPS owed Khan for stopping officers who allegedly came to remove drugs from a crime scene. Now critics are asking a simple question. If Mkhwanazi once praised Khan so strongly, why is he now one of his biggest critics? If you're following the Madlanga Commission and want updates on the ongoing hearings, including Feroz Khan's expected testimony on the 1st of July, subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Because what you're about to hear is the exact statement that has reignited this debate. Now watch this.
I could not find a single wrong that General Khan has done. In actual fact, I even said there in my own words that the SAPS owes General Khan for what he did. Because General Khan stopped police officers that came to collect drugs under the person who was the head of traffic routing. They came to collect a consignment of drugs from the truck. The truck that arrived in Germiston, and they wanted to get drugs from there. And the people that are owning the truck company, they said, no, you're not going to take these drugs, search this truck from here, follow it to the final destination, which is in Aeroton, which is a West Rand. So 2 police officers, 1 Johannesburg traffic, and 1 captain from Zongezizwe, they followed the truck until it arrived at Aeroton, and they were accompanied by 3 members from Pretoria who traveled all the way there. 1 from organized crime, 2 from the dog unit. And they all said they were coming to search the truck, and they actually offloaded the consignment from the truck, which was drugs, in bags. They took this thing and they loaded in the police car. Luckily, the lady that worked in that company contacted 10111. 10111 called Boysen police station. Boysen vehicle came there, and then there was a conflict between the police when they discovered that these policemen who says they're running these operations, they're already removing this consignment from the truck, they're loading it in the police park. So this policeman asked, but this is a crime scene. Why are you taking this thing from here to here? If you're saying it's drugs, we have not even opened the bags. How do you know? If it is drugs indeed, why do you load them in the park? And this one said, no, we're taking them to Zongezizwe. And this one said, but this is Boysen area. Why do you take this thing to Zongezizwe? It's found here, it's a crime scene. Get LCRC and everyone to deal with it. Then there was a conflict between police at the time, and that police member who was present there took the police vehicle, and he blocked this police car that was already loaded with drugs. He blocked it so that it doesn't move. And that's what allowed the other police officers to phone General Khan and say, there are members that claim to be from crime intelligence, they come and intervene. So he traveled all the way, he arrived almost 2 hours later. And he put a stop from these drugs to be stolen. He phoned DPCI, he phoned the local provincial crime intelligence. They came and he took over the scene and he left. But it was then strange as to how do you blame Khan for that? Because he stopped the people that wanted to steal drugs. He stopped it. So he was in a good space.
What you've just heard is exactly why this old clip is making rounds again, and why it's sparking so much debate around General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. At first glance, it looks like a contradiction. Because during the SAPS disciplinary process linked to the Aeroton drug bust, Mkhwanazi actually chaired the hearing into General Feroz Khan's conduct. And at that time, based on the evidence before him, he said he could not find a single wrongdoing. He even went as far as saying Sawad Khan credit for stopping officers who were allegedly trying to remove drugs from the scene. Now that is the part people are focusing on. Because today, Khan is facing far more serious allegations, and Mkhwanazi is being discussed in the same broader controversy. So naturally, people are asking how those 2 positions can exist in the same story. But in my view, that's where the misunderstanding starts. That earlier statement wasn't made with the full picture we are seeing now. It was based strictly on the evidence available during an internal SAPS disciplinary process at the time. It was never meant to account for later testimony, wider allegations, or the additional information now coming before the Madlanga Commission. What has changed is not necessarily that Mkhwanazi contradicted himself, but that the scope of the case has expanded. The Commission is now dealing with new evidence, new witnesses, and broader claims that were not part of the original hearing. And when you add that into the mix, old statements can start to look very different when taken out of context. So instead of rushing to call it a contradiction, it may be more accurate to understand it as an incomplete earlier finding being revisited under a much larger investigation. And that distinction matters, because in South Africa, internal SAPS disciplinary hearings and public commissions don't work on the same level of information. One is based on what is available at the time, while the other is designed to uncover what was not previously known. With Khan expected to testify on the 1st of July, this debate is only going to intensify. But what South Africans should focus on is not isolated clips or selective quotes, but the full body of evidence as it continues to unfold. Stay tuned for more updates as the Commission continues.